music 1957 to 1993, director of bands 1975 to 1993. Thank you. And since you enjoy woodworking, we have a smaller version of it for you in solid walnut.
It's nice to hear all those compliments about accomplishing this, that, and so forth. I wish now I was an accomplished speech maker. Dr. McPhee and Dr. John. But let me say, this will be sincere as I can possibly make it. I'm very grateful for this recognition. One real reason is so that so many of the band members are back here and my associates are back here, and I know I never had an opportunity to thank you for all of the help, support that you've given me in this band program. And I'll guarantee you, it could never have happened if it wasn't for many of you out there, along with thousands of others that have passed through this band program. So, thank you so much, and that's all my speech. Several individuals that I really want to recognize as having a very important influence on my life. And I'll try to abbreviate most of this. Jack Allen, whom you do not know, but Jack was a student here. He's a tuba player. And he was about 3 years older than me, and but we grew up together. Of course, I couldn't hang out with his crowd. But after spending a tour of duty in the Marine Corps, and I got bored in Tullahoma after a week or two and didn't know what I was going to do. I was not from a family of a lot of money. It was a fine family, but we never discussed going to college. And I was hanging around the Tullahoma drugstore where I worked for 3 years in high school. And perchance, saw Jack Allen get out of his car, and he always had such a swagger, and I guess he weighed about 125 pounds soaking wet, and he was whistling coming in the drugstore, and he saw me, and he had been in World War II, and I can tell you a story about Jack. I ended up rooming with him. And his body looked like a piece of cheese. You're talking about a guy that ran around with a black cloud over his head. I happened to see him in the shower for the first time, and it was really sort of interesting. I said, "Jack, where'd you get those tattoos so easily?" He said, "I got hit with a machine gun." I said, "A machine gun couldn't do that much." He says, they patched me up. I went back two weeks later, and I get, first time on the line, I get hit with another machine gun." And I said, "You're crazy." He says, "No, they took me back and they patched me up. In about 3 weeks, I was back on the front line. And the first time I was on the front line, I got hit again." That's where these holes come from. So Jack, that's the background of Jack, and he was my neighbor. And I said, "Well, what are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm on my way to Middle Tennessee State." He said, "I'm down there as a music major. I'm going to be a band director." And he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm just hanging loose. I don't know what I'm going to do." He said, "Well, I know what you're going to do." He said, "Let's go by and pick up your wardrobe and head for college." I said, "Jack, you just don't do that." I said, "In Middle Tennessee they do." He said, "Beans will take care of it." I don't have a place to stay. He says, "I'm in room 200, and Dollickhauser, who was in Tullahoma, was a medicine pre-med person, Fred Ryder had been in the Navy, and he was playing baseball and football here. And Jack had been in the Army, and here I come in, I was a Marine. And room 200 was built for 2 people. We had 4. They found a bunk bed, and we had quite a close communion there. But I don't think I ever paid for that room. No one ever asked me for money. And never will forget. I said, I guess I'd better go to the missions office. And so I went to the missions office, and Dean Beasley was there, and I said, Dean Beasley, I said, I was told I need to come by you, and I want to enter school, but I don't have any money. He says, oh, it doesn't make any difference, you're a GI, aren't you? He said, don't worry about it. So I filled out the form, and I was in school, and I had a place to study. So that Jack Allen is the one that actually got me on this campus and headed me in the right direction. And so I'm so indebted to that fella, and he was going to be here tonight, but he just simply is in ill health, and he lives in Cleveland, and it's just too far a trip. But he called, and I'm most appreciative of him calling me. He introduced me to Neil and Margaret Wright. He also talked me into playing in the band. And Neil, of course, whom this building is named, Neil and Margaret, they were 2 of the most impressive individuals I've ever known in my life. Just all around fantastic people. Neil's mother was a vocal coach, singer,